Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today I'm going to be making fufu. Now many of you have requested this for quite a while now and I'm finally going to make it. Fufu comes from Africa and it is a starch that often accompanies soups and stews like egisu and okra stews. And today I'm going to be making fufu from scratch, and I'm also going to show you how to make a goat and okra stew. So I am super excited to try fufu. I've never had it before. I can't wait to dip it into my stew and to use my hands to eat it. Now fufu is actually a very labor-intensive process to make. It consists of cassava and green plantains. So first these are peeled and then steamed or boiled until they're cooked, and then they are mashed in a very specific type of mortar and pestle. So the process of making fufu traditionally requires two people, one person to use the pestle to pound the cooked cassava and cooked plantain, and one person to add the ingredients to the mortar itself. And it's a lovely dance in synchrony. It kind of reminds me of traditional mochi making, where one person is pounding and one person turns the mochi. It looks very dangerous as the hand gets close to the pounding, but the rhythm of the two people working together is just lovely. It's just like a dance. So I don't have the traditional mortar and pestle, and I have found several ways to make it at home. A lot of people actually use something like this. This is a powdered fufu mix. I'm actually going to be using the cassava and the plantain. So the recipe I'm going to be using today comes from Obapa's Kitchen. I'll put a link down below to their recipe. This is a green plantain. It's important that it be green. Let's just chop everything up. A plantain is much starchier than a banana. I'm going to give this a little bit of a chop to help my blender out. Cassava is actually indigenous to South America and was brought over to Africa by the Portuguese. It's very hard. And this flour is called tapioca flour, and it's what's used to make boba. So I've chopped up my cassava and my plantain. I have 2 cups of each. We're going to do this in batches because the goal is to get a very smooth puree. And I've got 2 cups of water, and I'll add about 1/3 of that. Make sure the lid is on securely. Alrighty, here we go. Plug it in. Plug it in. Why do I always forget to do that? Okay. So funny. Alright, here we go. Alright, let's try that again, shall we? Very smooth. So now we're going to cover our puree with a plate, place it into the microwave, and microwave it for 7 minutes. Here we are. Dun, 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 all steamy and hot. And I'm going to keep one glove on. And here it is. Look at this beautiful texture. And parts of this look translucent, but part of it is still kind of milky. So I think I'm going to give this 1 more minute. Now the consistency of your fufu will depend on how much water was added to it. If you like it harder, you would cook it a little bit longer. If you want it softer, you would add more water. Okay, so here we are. Okay, now I think we are at where we need to be. Everything is translucent. There's no uncooked batter. And it is very sticky and stretchy. I'm going to set this aside for just a few minutes to allow it to cool. So here I have a beautiful okra and goat meat stew I made to have with my fufu. And look at this consistency. In terms of texture, it's very reminiscent of natto, which are Japanese fermented soybeans, or yama-imo, which is an yam that can be grated and served on top of hot rice. It has this really stretchy, slimy texture, which is much coveted and loved in Japan, myself included. Is just marvelous. And this comes from the okra that is used in this dish. Okra has a beautiful mucilaginous texture to it. Inside has small white ball seeds and this beautiful mucilaginous ooze that comes out as you cook it. It's just marvelous. So this recipe was also inspired by Obapa's Kitchen, and I'll put a link down below to the original recipe. So Obapa's recipe does not include actual measurements. So these are just approximations based on that video. Take about 1 pound of goat meat and we're going to add it to a saucepan. And then we're going to add 1 small onion that has been chopped up finely. You're gonna add 2 cups of water, and then you're gonna add some aromatics. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, a half teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 bouillon cube. Bring this up to a boil, reduce the heat, cover it, and allow it to simmer for a half an hour. So take a ½ pound of okra, place it into a food processor, and grind it up into a paste. And then in a medium saucepan, place the pureed okra along with 2 cups of water. Bring that up to a simmer and allow it to cook for 5 to 7 minutes. So in a large pot, we're going to add about 1/3 cup of palm oil, then add half a sliced red onion. So in a food processor, we're going to grind the other half of the red onion along with 2 Scotch bonnet peppers. And then we're going to add that and saute that until everything is nice and translucent. Add 2 chopped up tomatoes, a ½ teaspoon of salt, and 1 bouillon cube. This is crayfish powder, and I use my mortar and pestle to grind this up. We're going to add a 1/4 cup of that to our sauce. Allow the sauce to cook for about 5 minutes. And now we're going to add our cooked goat meat. I found my sauce was a little bit tight, so I added 1 cup of water, and then I stirred everything really well and allowed it to simmer for 15 minutes. Then I added my okra and cooked for an additional 10 minutes. And then my stew is finished. Now that the fufu is cooled off, let's go ahead and knead it. So I've got a little bit of water on my hands. So this would traditionally be pounded with a special pestle. Since I don't have one, I'm just using my knuckles. Alrighty, my lovelies, finally my first taste of fufu and okra stew. I cannot wait! So I've already washed my hands. My fufu is still warm. I'm gonna grab a piece of fufu, knead it in your fingers. And you dip it into the sauce. And then, here we go. Itadakimasu. That's an absolutely delightful experience. You just allow the food to slide down your throat, and immediately I feel the heat from the 2 Scotch bonnet peppers that we added in there. I taste the goat, which is gamey and meaty, and I taste the onions and the delightful texture of the okra. Let's have another bite. So much fun. This kind of stringiness is very reminiscent of natto. Here we go. I really have to make an effort not to chew it. Oh, but it's delightful. I love the amount of spice. It's very tolerable and enjoyable. I'm gonna see if the fufu has any taste of its own. The fufu itself doesn't really have much flavor. It's a perfect blank canvas for the stew. It's more about a texture. It's bouncy and slippery and stretchy, and a really great echo of the textures found in the stew. It's just so much fun to let it slide right on down. Besides adding this mucilaginous texture, okra has a nice flavor to it too. It's a little bit grassy, a little bit like spinach, but it's really about the textures here for me. So this is the first time I've cooked with goat meat, and while it was cooking, it smelled a lot like lamb. And now that I've tasted it, it is similar to lamb, but a little bit more beefy. Alrighty, my lovelies, there you have it, fufu and okra stew. Absolutely scrum-diddly-umptious, a delightful experience as well. Learning to eat with my hands and not chewing. Super, super fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo. Take care. Bye. Bye.
Boom.